Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back to another edition here of Intuitive Angling. Thanks for making a little time out of your day to watch the video, much appreciated. And actually I'm sort of spending today, I'm getting ready. I've got, in about a week and a half, I've got my next Toyota Series tournament up at Truman Lake. So I got my tackle all over the tackle room here going through it. And I saw today, what the topic of today's video is my big pile you guys saw in the thumbnail of the old Rapalas. Man, that I have got so many sentimental memories with that bait and caught so many bass on it. I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on how to use them because they still are just as effective today, even though they don't get used much. So I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to catch some fish on the old school Rapala here. Real quick before we get started, just want to remind everybody, if you guys don't mind, please take some time and hit a few of those view products on the view products tab on the video. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen when you click on the video. Just some products that I recommend, and every time you click on one of those products, the channel gets 20 cents for that, and it's a good way to support the channel, and you don't even have to buy anything, just click on it. And also, please hit that subscribe button, man. We're getting close to 85,000 subscribers. Got a big giveaway coming up. Probably going to hit that sometime this week, so please subscribe if you don't mind there. Okay, guys, Rapala here. The old Rapala, man. This is the first bait that I ever fished. It's like one of my old mentors when I was a kid, my dad's best friend named Jack Thompson. He got me started fishing Rapala when I was like 8 or 9 years old, 7 or 8 or 9. He would tell me these stories about all these big bass and pike and muskie he caught in Canada on it and showed me about the Rapala. And I took it at my youngest memories, and it was the first bait I had for wading creeks. And I would take the little bitty tiny one and wade this little creek called Turkey Creek behind my mom and dad's house every night after school, and I'd catch black perch and perch on it and bass, and took it out on the road. I caught so many bass on it growing up that I took it out on the tour when I started Bassmaster. And in 1988 at the Bassmaster Invitational at Lake Guntersville, I finished 7th place in that tournament, and I lost a 7-pounder in that tournament and another one about 4 pounds that would have won the tournament for me. And I caught every single bass on an old Rapala at Lake Guntersville. So that'd been quite a story if I'd have got that 7-pounder and winning a tournament on the old Rapala. So anyway, guys, let's get into this a little advice here. Ones I like and everything. Here are my two favorite, the number 11 and the number 13 Rapala. And you can see, look at these things, you can tell they have been fished. You can see all the teeth marks all over them. I have caught tons of bass on these two right here. These are veteran warriors. This may have been the one I used at Lake Guntersville. I can't remember. I used the 11 and the 13 both there. In the black back with silver side. And then the other Rapala comes in the black back with gold side. 98% of the time, guys, I'm using the black back silver side one. I don't use the gold much or any other color. They'll bite it a little bit, but not near as good as they will the black and silver model like here. So anyway, on this particular bait, there's a couple different things about it. This was the original jerk bait. You can fish it like a jerk bait, and when I almost won that Guntersville Bassmaster tournament on it, I was fishing it just like a suspending jerk bait. I was throwing it out there, jerking it pretty hard. That was a May tournament, and I was fishing it over the flats, over the top of the submerged grass beds, just jerking it on a spinning rod, not pausing it too much, getting it down there probably 2 or 3 feet. That's about all it runs because it floats up real quick. I have weighted them before, but most of the time I like to fish it normally. But in those situations, if I'm fishing shallow rock, shallow grass, that type of stuff, I'll fish it like a traditional jerk bait, even though it floats so high that you can't catch them very good on it if the water's cold. So I like to have water temperatures over 70 degrees when I'm catching them on a jerk bait, like a traditional jerk bait. But guys, my favorite way to fish both of them is on sort of like a subsurface topwater. I'll throw these things out there and I'll jerk them underwater, probably 3 or 4 inches, and let them float up and just let them sit there still on the top until all the ripples dissipate. And then I'll just twitch it just a little bit like that and let it set to the top. Bernie Schultz, one of the top Bassmaster Elite Series pros, knows all about this. It's a great Florida bait. And Bernie's caught a lot of fish on it in Florida, and I have too. But, fishing it in springtime of the year or when the bass are really shallow is when you want to fish it as a topwater lure. And you can't cover much water with this thing. This thing is like, when you're fishing like a topwater, you're fishing it over the top of shallow grass. maybe around shady areas, you know, maybe the back of coves, that type of stuff, areas where you're pretty confident the bass live. It's not a search bait when you're using it like that. It's a bait that you know the fish are there and you're actually trying to coax them into biting, and that's how I caught a lot of them in the creeks there. It works really good in a variety of water clarities too. Actually, you would think that this is sort of a clear water technique, but the best success I've had on the old Rapala has been those water visibilities that are sort of in that 2 to 3 foot range, not necessarily super clear or below 2 feet. If the water visibility is more on the 2 feet end, that's when I'm sort of, you know, working like a jerk bait pretty fast. And if the water visibility is like sort of in that 4 to 5 foot zone, 3 to 5 foot zone, I'm working on topwater. But I have found that there's that clarity window you have to stay in, and probably 90% of the good days I've had on the old Rapala has been on that water visibility between 2 to 3 feet. I'm fishing it on, you know, usually just a 6 foot 10 inch megabass whip snake, spinning rod all the time. If I'm jerking it like a jerk bait, I'm using, you know, like 8-pound test Seaguar fluorocarbon. If I'm fishing it as a topwater, sometimes I'll use either like 10-pound test straight braid, the Seaguar Smackdown, or some monofilament line so it doesn't sink it down a little bit. But guys, I just want to tell you this, nobody fishes this thing much anymore. This thing, I'm telling you guys right now, this is a freaking killer bait just as much now as it was 50 years ago. Looks like a minnow, draws a lot of strikes, and sometimes they'll bite them better than the more modern type of the topwater and jerk bait. So go get you some. You can get them anywhere. They're still available. Awesome. Get you some black and silver, number 11, number 13s. You saw the pile that I got on them. That's a proof that, you know, I bought every one of those. That's a proof that they work pretty good, and they still got a spot in my box here. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated, and we'll see you later.